Hello friends, Lee here from TableTop Bong. Thanks for joining me. In this video, I thought we could hang out, have a fun sesh, and check out the SIP E-Rig from Yocan Black. The SIP E-Rig is a little bit different than other E-Rigs in the market. This thing is designed to be completely portable and to be totally incognito when you are out and about. I think they've done a pretty good job in making the visual something that is certainly not going to grab a whole lot of attention if you're walking down the street or if you're out for a hike and you happen to take this with you, sitting at the beach, wherever you are on the go. I don't think this is going to get a whole lot of second looks as far as people going, yo, dude, is that a dab rig? I think people will just see it and move on. It's pretty cool the way they've done it. And the really cool thing with this, on top of that, if you need even more incognito mode, you can actually remove this entire insert and you can replace the glass cup with something that is not see-through. So you can really choose with this device how intense do you want to go as far as all that stuff is concerned. It's just seriously a simple, look at this, right? It's just a silicone insert and it just mates beautifully with the glass. It's a pretty cool design, quite honestly. Now, let's take a closer look at this insert. So you have your atomizer in here. It's the Cloud 2 chamber. I'm running a couple of 3mm tert pearls in there. You have your, it's a dab tool built right into the lid, which is cool. And then this is your power button. And it's also your temperature select button, okay? So there's 4 presets built in. They are, I think it's 490, 510, 535, and we're gonna look at the sheet again. I'll just bring it in up close and personal, and you guys can see exactly what's going on as far as presets are concerned and where they're located, right? So 490, 510, yeah, I can't make that out because my eyesight's not that great. Anyway, what I can tell you is I am typically not dabbing beyond about 510 degrees unless I'm going for the knockout punch, right? So I'm using with this device the lowest 2 settings. Typically I'm going on the lowest setting when I'm vaping things like rosin and stuff like that. If I decide to drop some shatter or something like that in here, something that's not quite as delicate of a concentrate, then I'm going up to the 2nd preset. But basically, for me personally, those are the 2 I'm using. If I want to go for the knockout punch, I might go to, the 3rd setting, 2nd to highest setting, and get a little bit more temperature there at like 530 degrees. But I don't really, I find personally the flavor, everything, this device shines in the lowest 2 temperature settings, at least for me, because I'm not looking for that super high temperature hot dab, unless if I'm doing that, I'm getting a banger and I'm going for it in a whole different way. This is, to me, is an on-the-go rig. It works beautifully. If you like hot dabs, then you're gonna definitely like the upper settings. Now, this piece here is completely removable. This is your glass air path, okay? So it basically just goes into the bottom of the device and you can set it wherever you need it to be based on the cup you're using. So when you're using the SIP cup like this, okay, you can see where the water line is to fill it, and you can see that that glass air path is going to drop down into the water, which we're going to drop some water in here in just a second. So they make it easy, right? Like they even show you where to fill it to with the water line. So you can't really go wrong. This piece here too, just so you know, it's just a silicone ring that they include in the kit to make the glass non-slip. Personally, I love it. I think it's awesome. So let's go ahead and we're going to drop some water in here. I'm going to give you guys a caution before anything happens. This piece here, okay, that plugs your glass straw, which, by the way, they also include a stainless steel straw in case you don't want the glass straw. I thought that was pretty cool that they give you both options. But before you're going to add water and put the insert into the water, please, please, please remove this cap. If you don't remove the cap, you're going to actually force some water up into the device. I've done it. Okay, that's how I learned this. I can tell you I dried the device out and it was completely fine. They've done a great job of waterproofing this thing, or water resistancing it, I guess. You can't say proof anymore in our world about anything. But they've done a pretty good job of making this whole top part very water resistant. Like I said, I soaked the atomizer, like it's just, you have to take this off. I'm probably never going to plug that back on again, so I never make that mistake again, quite honestly, because it scared me a little bit. When I saw water come up, I was like, oh, what's going on? Because you're forcing water into the air path, right? And then it comes up into the chamber. I mean, that's the path, right? You're just doing it in reverse. And when you don't allow any airflow through it by not removing this, that's what's going to happen. So I just wanted to mention that. Don't do that. Okay? If you happen to do it accidentally, turns out it wasn't a big deal when it happened, and they've done a great job. It's like they've already thought that this is going to happen. I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. I can't really speak for that. But what I can say is I did it, and it didn't hurt the device in the slightest. But still, it did give me a bit of a... you know, that kind of a feeling, right? So super simple, just 5 tap on. Okay, and you can see there's the LEDs, and then it's 5 taps off. And again, it'll show you the LEDs. So let's go ahead and let's drop some water in here. And all we're gonna do, oh, what did I do? I activated it. I thought I turned it off. I activated it. Good thing I noticed that. So now I turned it off. It's just 5 clicks. I did, I guess not 5. So I'm just going to drop a little bit of water in here. I'm going to just fill, past the line because I'm looking at the camera. Let's find the line. And we're still past the line. I think it's really important when a manufacturer shows you a fill line, fill to the line. Don't go crazy. Don't, you know, typically as manufacturers, you spend a lot of time figuring this stuff out and figuring out exactly where the, you know, best balance is. Now that this is off and not in place, I can go ahead and insert the insert. Okay, so you can see I'm down nicely into the water. We'll show you the bubble action. And it does a pretty nice job. So let's drop a dab in here. So I'm gonna just, what do we got here? Let's go with this. This is some live resin batter. I'm not gonna go with crazy big dabs in here. I'm just gonna go with something, you know, like this, decent sized dab, but not crazy. And we'll just drop it in. I'm using a crossing hot knife. And I'll just show you exactly how this thing works as you go. So, clicked it on. Now I'm gonna put it to the side. Okay, this side is the lowest setting. And I'm gonna double tap to heat it up, and you can see the LEDs in the water showing that it's heating. Okay, there's gonna be some feedback to let me know that it's time to rip on this thing. And then I'll show you exactly the type of clouds that this throws. You can see the LED up here, eh? Isn't that cool with the reflection on the water? Gotta love it. It's pretty fast heat up time. It's about 30 seconds or so. We're just about there now. You can see there's a little tiny bit of vapor coming out. Cheers. And again, my friends, this is the lowest temperature setting. And that concludes the dab. Just that easy. So the flavor, it's definitely there. I'm gonna give it, like, as far as flavor goes, probably like a 7.5 out of 10. I think the strong suit to this device, definitely it's a cool operating device for sure. It's very aesthetically pleasing. I think the big draw is definitely the incognito mode of, you know, a cup like this, and the fact that you have the actual glass pieces, which is really nice. You have an all glass air path, you have a glass air path here, plus you have all glass, right? So really the only thing that has to perform halfway decently is the Cloud 2 chamber for you to get decent decent flavor. The effects are quite good, aren't they? So you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna hit one more. I'm gonna just up it to the second to lowest temperature. We'll drop another dab in and we'll whip this for another 30 seconds. This, I can't remember if I said it or not, has a 1800 milliamp hour battery. What that translates to in real life is somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 to 23 dabs, depending on your temperature. If you're running on the top 2 temperatures, you're going to get a little bit less than if you're running on the lower 2 temperatures. I mean, that just makes sense, right? It's just more power to heat the device, and it's more power to keep it heated up. Let's go ahead and we'll just click that on again. Now we're going to get green LEDs going on in the water, which is super cool. And we'll go ahead and enjoy this dab before we wrap it up. So at the end of the day, who's this for? I think this is for somebody who is looking for a dab rig on the go that is super simple, really incognito, which is awesome. It's not quite there yet. I just wanted a puff of all the super terpy vapor. There we go. Huge clouds. This is 510 degrees Fahrenheit. I keep ripping a little bit after the heat turns off. Just to make sure I get everything out of the dab possible. Clean up. It's just a simple cotton swab. And that's all there is to it. Nothing too challenging. The Cloud 2 chambers, they're replaceable. Pretty inexpensive, under $30 to replace the Cloud 2 chamber. So, you know, it's a pretty inexpensive device to keep going, you know, over the long term, that's for sure. So definitely, if you need something that is incognito, you want something to just kind of sit back and sip on, this is it. I'm not going to call this a device that you would go ahead and rip on, although even sipping, you could see the large clouds that were capable, right? This is capable of producing even when you're sipping. So, you know, they call it the sip, and the the catchphrase with it is sip back and relax. Well, you can definitely do that, but you're going to be throwing some big clouds at the same time, you know, and it just comes down to how hard you draw on the device. You don't really need to do these massive direct to lung rips to get the most out of this. I think, you know, the cigar puff, the sip on it style is definitely going to match the device quite nicely. You know, a couple of dabs and I am certainly quite satisfied and don't really need any more in a sesh at this point in time to feel, you know, the full effects. So it does definitely do a pretty doggone nice job. So all in all, I am definitely liking the SIP from Yocan. I think that there is definitely people out there that this is going to match. If you're in a legal environment and you're not necessarily looking for the incognito mode, what's beautiful about this device is it is a very cool visual nonetheless. All right, my friends. Anyway, I wanted to just hang out, do a couple of dabs with you, and talk about this SIP E-Rig from Yocan Black. I definitely think it is a decent value for the money. I think, you know, they're giving you something that's pretty fair for what you're paying for it. All right, thanks very much. Until next time, take care.